Number 1, an individual that undertakes the creation of an organization and ownership of a business is called a what? A self-motivated person, B, motivated person, C, entrepreneur, or D, a well-educated person. Question number 2, which type of economy is government run, where the government owns all of the resources and makes all of the consumer decisions? A, command, B, mixed, C, market, or D, traditional? Question 3, if a product has an inelastic demand, that means what? A, if the price goes up, the demand goes down quickly. B, if the price goes down, the product will sell very quickly. C, the demand is not affected by price very much. Or D, the demand will never move. Question number 4, which of the following explains the law of supply? A, consumers will want more quantity of a product at a cheaper price than a more expensive one. B, producers are willing to sell quantity more of a product if they can sell it for a more expensive price. C, if the demand goes up, the government will supply more products. Or D, if the demand goes down, the supply will go down. Question 5, this happens when there is more demand than there is supply of a good. A, shortage, B, surplus, C, fire sale, or D, discontinuance. Question 6, which of the following products would be considered a product with an inelastic demand? A, cookies, B, iPhone, C, novelty items like Hot Pockets, or D, auto fuel? Question number 7, land, labor, entrepreneurship, and capital are all part of which system and are necessary to create a product? A, fully operational platform, B, functional opportunity plan, C, false opportunity perception, or D, factors of production? Question number 8, which of the following explains the law of demand? A, consumers will want more quantity of a product at a cheaper price than a more expensive one. B, producers are willing to sell quantity more of a product if they can sell it for a more expensive price. C, demand goes up, supply goes down. Or D, demand goes down, supply goes down. Question number 9, being able to be creative, setting your own schedule, and controlling your salary are all examples of what? A, risks to being an entrepreneur, B, benefits of being an entrepreneur, C, profitable practices of entrepreneurs, or D, unsuccessful practices of entrepreneurs? Question number 10, which of the following would not be included when buying into a franchise? A, the ability to use the name, logo, and branding. B, guaranteed success. C, fully created business plan. Or D, goodwill? Question 11, Nicole is a hard worker. She never quits until the job is done. What entrepreneurial characteristic does she exemplify? A, charisma, B, independence, C, goal-oriented, or D, persistence? Question number 12, machines, tools, buildings, and whatever else is used in the production of a good is which factor of production? A, land, B, labor, C, capital, or D, entrepreneurship? Question 13, a person that participates rather than watches an activity would be what type of person? A, self-confident, B, action-oriented, C, inquisitive, or D, responsible? Question 14, characteristics of human population and population segments such as age, gender, race, and location are known as what? A, demographics, B, psychographics, C, metagraphics, or D, cognographics? Question 15. If an entrepreneur accomplishes a goal and sets another right away, they are exemplifying which characteristic? A, self-demanding, B, creative, C, restless, or D, independent? Question 16. Which type of economy is people run, where the consumers own all the resources and makes all of the consumer decisions? A, command, B, mixed, C, market, or D, traditional? Question 17. When an entrepreneur constantly thinks of new ways to solve old problems, they are what? A, creative, B, goal-oriented, C, independent, or D, self-confident? Question 18. What is a benefit of starting your own business over buying a business? A, less risky, B, goodwill, C, do everything your own way, or D, staff is already hired and trained? Question 19. Believing in oneself and acting like it displays which of the following characteristics? A, creative, B, persistent, C, risk-taking, or D, self-confident? Question number 20. One reason a business might be up for sale is A, unsuccessful, B, owner is retiring, C, losing money, or D, all of the above? Question 21. Being passionate and energetic about your pursuits displays which characteristic? A, enthusiasm, B, persistency, C, risk-taking, or D, self-confidence? Question 22. Customers that have loyalty to a business, regardless of the owner, are displaying which benefit to buying an existing business? A, devotion, B, existing staff, C, goodwill, or D, location? Question 23. When a company works together with another company to provide a product or service that is beneficial for both parties, it is called what? A, homogeneous relationship, B, selective distribution arrangement, C, strategic alliance, or D, outsource agreement? Question 24. One of the most important questions to ask yourself before entering a family business would be A, what are the hours I will work? C, can I leave business problems at work when I go home each night? C, can I do whatever I want? Or D, none of the above? Question 25. This trait is defined as finding new ways of doing things. A, small gains, B, a party, C, fast profits, or D, innovation? Question 26. To think creatively about an opportunity, one can A, think outside the square, B, go from here to there, C, work with unrelated items, or D, all of the above? Question 27. A great source for creative ideas would be A, people watching, B, watching demographic changes, C, talking to your peers, or D, both A and B? Question 28. Explain the difference between a good and a service and provide an example of each. Question 29. What is active outsourcing and why might a company consider outsourcing? Provide 2 examples. Question 30, explain elastic demand and provide an example of a product or service that has elastic demand. Question 31, the cafeteria has only made 150 cheeseburgers and only has the inventory to make 200 cheeseburgers. There are 135 hungry students that want cheeseburgers. Is this economic dilemma a surplus or a shortage? And what will need to be done to fix this dilemma? Question 32, what is the difference between buying an existing business compared to buying into a franchise? For questions 34, 35, and 36, please use the picture here. Question 34, what does line 36 represent? Which would be the red line. Is that the supply curve, demand curve, equilibrium point, or surplus? Question 35, what does line 37 represent? Is that the supply curve, the demand curve, the equilibrium point, or a shortage? Line 37. Question 36, what does line 38 represent, or the green line? Is that the supply curve, the demand curve, the equilibrium point, or a shortage? Question 37 and 38 are extra credit. 37, who was the founder of the McDonald's franchise that we know today? Question 38, what is the only legal monopoly in the United States? Hint, it's not the board game.